you've spoken about hope, but I want you to tell me the practical way that you are able to hold on to this word and for it to keep you, because I mean, I don't know whether you've been there, but I feel like you've been there.
I've been there. Maybe I'm even there.
And welcome to the Passion Show, where we talk about living out that full life in faith, work, and life in general. On today's episode, I am so excited to have with me Esenam.
Yay, drum roll.
Esenam, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh no, I should be. No, she's welcoming me.
Oh yes, you're welcome.
So Esenam, thank you.
Esenam. Yes,
okay.
Mine ESE. You know, Esenam is usually ESI. I don't know if you realize
yes.
that.
So what is
No, it's the same meaning. It's a dialect thing. So mine dialect, you say Ese, and the Anglo say Ese.
Okay.
So Esenam, but mine is Esenam.
Yes. So Esenam.
Yes.
People learn Esenam. Who is Esenam?
Esenam is, now a fashion designer, but I also consult. I'm a professional communications expert. I'm a public relations professional. So that's what I do. And I manage an NGO. So I do three main things now, as you see me. Yeah, I completed KNUST in 2010. And I read land economy. Yes, and after that I did my MSc in Environment and Development. In the UK, I went to London School of Economics.
Wow,
Yay,
that's a smart woman.
Yes, I went to LSE.
Wow.
Yes, by God's grace, I went to LSE. Hey. I'm a Commonwealth scholar, so wow. Yes, I didn't have to pay any dime. I couldn't have even afforded it.
Please anoint me.
Receive it. Yes. Amen. Yes, I'm a Commonwealth. God being so good. I had the first class from the KNUST. I actually completed top in my class. Wow. Yes, and a year later I got admission into London. I got Cambridge, but I didn't get funding that year. So I decided to, settle for London School of Economics.
Settling for London School of Economics.
No, yeah, but it's a great school. So I thank God I got the opportunity to do my MSc in London School of Economics and Political Science. Yes, and I came back to Ghana in 2014 and I started work with Bank of Africa. Yes, I was in the Marketing and Communications department. Yes, and I was doing public relations, media relations, stakeholder relations, marketing, branding, advertising, all those. Bank of Africa gives you the opportunity to do a broad spectrum. You get to do a bit of everything because it's a small team. So yes, I got the opportunity to do a bit of all these areas, and that has helped me in my journey so far. Yeah, so this is now. Along the way, I think in 2018, I started having this, yearning to do fashion, because when I came back from London, I realized when I went to London was a great eye opener for me, because I got to know that I'm a DIY person. I knew it, but I didn't explore it. But in the UK, you have internet. It was good. So it's like I was after my exam, in LSE, after exam in June, I finished my exam in June 2013, and so from then till you graduate in December, you've got time, so you're either working, and I was so fortunate to work at home, so I got time to explore the internet and I got to learn. So I do my own makeup. I'm a professional makeup artist, I'm a hairstylist, and now I'm into fashion. So I'm a DIY person. So everything I develop interesting, I make sure I get to learn it, and then I pick up that skill and it becomes part of me. So yeah.
You just realized that you were DIY and then you started yearning to do fashion.
Yeah.
Like, how was that journey for you? So
okay, it was actually divine, and yes, I like it because I don't know, your camera can see that, but you can see all miracles. I believe in the supernatural. I believe in Jesus Christ. That's what my life is about. So I tend to pray a lot about God guiding my steps. So yeah, so things happen to me and you would just take it as, oh, okay, it's just normal. But for me, it's not normal, because I know that once God is ordering my step, every tiny detail in my life is ordered by God. That's what I believe in. So yes, I was in the bank and we moved offices. So we had to relocate to the Octagon in Accra. And when we got our new office, okay, so this lady, she's not in my department, but she was temporarily placed there. Like, they didn't have an office space then, their department. I think it was a new department we were creating, so like she had to join us in the office. And this was a lady who I've always seen around from afar, and she's not extremely friendly, so she's not somebody I know. But she then happened to come to our office. So in my mind, this lady, I've never really spoken to her now, and I warm up to people. Yeah, so I was like, okay, it's good. And then she came, and I think day 1, day 2, day 3, she started, opening up, and we also started opening up to her. And we learned that she's into fashion. And I was into fashion then, but I didn't know anything about, making clothing, producing them, or making them. I didn't know anything about sewing. I design, I create things, I have concepts, and I give them to people to do. So people knew me to also be a fashion designer, but I didn't know anything about like the actual work, which is like creating the or actualizing the concepts that you have. Yes. So then she said, oh, she's also into fashion, and she went to a school in Rios originate. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I had never heard of them. And my husband had always told me, like, go and learn fashion. But I always was like, it takes 3 years, apprenticeship, the regular, it's 3 years or 3.5 years. I didn't have the luxury of time because I was working in a bank. Even if you use your weekends, that's like a very long time. So it was something that I was not considering at all. So when she came and she said, oh, she went to fashion school for 6 months, I was like, wow. In Ghana, she said yes. And she linked me up, like she gave me the name, and I looked them up on the internet, and I realized that, oh, they had a 6 months fashion design course, and they had a weekend option. I was like, oh wow, that's so divine. So yes, so that's how God, charted the course for me to get into fashion.
Wow.
So yes. And it was January, so resolutions. So it was good for me, because I was like, okay, then I can actually use 6 months into a new year to become a totally new person. And I did it. And I think 2-3 months into the course, I realized that it was innate. It was something that was just coming out of me. I never knew I could do it necessarily, but I realized that it was something I was enjoying, and it was more natural for me. So I just got into it, and yes, here I am.
I love it.
Yes,
so you consult, you have this, and then you have your NGO.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay, so so I consult. So as and when I actually work for my church, yes, freelancer, yes, and I also consult. So as and when I have anything to do in the area of communications for people, I do for them, and I get paid. Yes. And for my NGO, it's called Femme, the Femme Foundation. Femme, I think it's Femme when you say in French, but I don't speak French, so I say Femme Foundation. Basically, a foundation for women.
Okay.
The NGO I started 2 years ago, and yes, it's actually a very long story, but to cut a long story short, it was from experience I had with menstrual health. Yes, I've had to grapple with debilitating menstrual health conditions. So yes, it's sound ironical, but that's what birthed the NGO. I think usually NGOs are like that. There's a story behind, yes, usually a personal story, or you having a personal drive or interest in an area. That's what actually birthed my NGO, because of a personal experience I've had. So I created it to raise awareness So we have something called HILS, HILS. There's a health aspect, there's innovation, as well as leadership, and there's skills. So those are the areas we focus. So far, I think I've been big on the health, so on the menstrual health. So I've had a couple of programs around, and the very last one I had was in West African Secondary School in Adenta. Yeah, we had about 700 of the girls attending, and we had, it was a workshop, and we made them aware of menstruation problems and what you should do if you have a problem. And also I'm doing this project with one of the ministries. I don't want to give the name out, but we're doing a project where we're making reusable menstrual pads.
Really?
Yes.
Reusable?
Yes.
Reusable?
Yes, we're going back. It's like sample pack. Yes. But yeah, the West is big on it. You know, the West is big on sustainability in general. Yes, so it's all it's with that this came out.
But is it hygienic? Is it healthy?
Very, very healthy.
So how do you keep it hygienic?
Yeah, so regular, yes, you wash it very well, obviously, wash it very well, and then dry it under the sun. And yes, you pack it and you reuse it. I mean, you can check it out. It's good. Okay. It's something. It's not, you know, caught fire in Ghana or in Africa, but it's an affordable alternative, if you ask me, because it's really the answer and the solution to period poverty. I know it's not something you can relate, because you look very debilitating to period poverty. Yeah, but it's a big deal, especially in the rural, even the urban poor. Yes, I mean, churning out 8 CDs or 10 CDs a month. Yes, I mean, they're not making anything in a day, so they actually resort to unhygienic means, because you know, you don't choose to menstruate, it comes whether you like or when you're a female. Yes, so then you have to do something for that holy time of the month. Yes, too. And there's actually it's a good alternative, if you ask me. Yes.
So for someone who's thinking, okay, so what's like much ado about, we all like go through it, so why would there be, I mean, you did mention that you had a personal experience, but what are some of the challenges that are involved in like a menstrual cycle or a woman's monthly cycle that you feel were issues that needed to be addressed?
Yeah, you know, I don't know about, I think in Ghana, it's major in Ghana, I think in the African countries, it's actually a global problem. You know, whenever you have a menstrual cramp, you are told, when you give birth, it will go away.
Yes.
It's not true. I mean, yes, it's so not true, and that's one of the things we're trying to demystify. It's not true. It's so, I don't know how. Yes, because that's what I grew up with. Yes. And actually, it wasn't. It was in UK that I got diagnosed of that condition. Yes, so it's not true, because you know, everybody says, when you give birth, it would go away. And the funny or the interesting thing is, my mother had a similar problem. Hers was not severe like what mine was, but you know, when she gave birth, it reduced a bit. So, you know, it was the usual ideology we carried on with. And then we realized it wasn't. So it's actually to create that awareness that, hey, if you've got very severe menstrual pain, it's not normal. Like, it's so not normal. You should have a check. And not just like every other condition. Once it's detected early enough, then you can manage it more effectively. So it's not normal. So that's what my NGO, one of the things we seek to do, to create the awareness out there, and to also encourage people. And you know, it's even so much so that even in the corporate world, you know, one of the reasons I was in the bank, but I had to leave, aside the passion for fashion, you know, the occurrence of the condition was actually getting in the way of work, because it actually, you know, reduces your quality of life. Yes, so because of that, I needed to take some movement back and actually, you know, work on myself and also seek medical attention, yes, for a bit. So, and also get the time to just do more of the awareness and
Yeah.
get people out there to know that it's not something you take for granted. If you're having just a menstrual cramp that would keep you in bed is not normal. Like it's like it can never be normal. That's what I grew to know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's
Wow.
one of the things.
Wow.
So it's like an aside, but yeah.
No, but I love it, and I'm going to be sharing details of your foundation.
Yes.
I mean your NGO down below so that people can read it a bit more, because that's all I've known.
Yes.
Yes. Like it's going to stop when you have a baby.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, when you were growing up, did you always kind of have an idea of what you wanted to do? Was it a smooth sailing ride for you? So you talked about going through school, then graduating well.
Yes.
Going to LSE, coming back to Ghana, starting this. Like, was everything ready? Was everything, was everything available? Were the finances available? Were the contacts available? Was this wonderful studio set up already? Like, what was the process for you?
Yeah, nothing was available. I think one critical thing I left out was that I lost my dad when I was 7.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, so I've been losing your dad at 7 and having 6 other siblings with a mom who was just a petty trader. So I'm sure you can piece the various scenarios together and see how my life had to go, Yeah, so it wasn't easy at all. Like, nothing was rosy, nothing was available. What I thank God so much for is that I knew the Lord and He's helped me. Yes, I mean, because without God, every time I walk about and I see hawkers, because I used to sell, so like it could have just been a career path. I'm sure I'll be so good at it. Yes, because I think I started selling when I was 10. Yeah, so when you see all those young children about carrying stuff selling, I've been like that. And yeah, so when I see people out there in the traffic hawking and trying to fend for themselves, I always say to myself, I could have been that, but I'm not, and for that I'm so grateful. And my heart always goes out for those people who have to do a lot to get something small, like just to sustain themselves. Yeah.
So what was the turning point for you? Here you are, like a young girl going through a loss of your father, who I presume was the key breadwinner.
Yes, definitely.
And then you had siblings, other siblings. I mean, if you don't mind, can you kind of walk us through what was that turning point where, like you said, your life could have been like this, but it turned out like this? When did you meet the Lord in the equation, and what did that bring?
Yes, I think I was so blessed to come from a Christian home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my dad was big on God and my mom as well. So I think growing up, I've always loved the things of God. It's a blessing because not everyone gets that opportunity. People would do a lot of things, go wayward before they are brought back on track. But my life was like that. So from that tender age, I was a church girl. I've always been in church. So there was no key turning point for me because I just grew up in the Lord and carried forth. I think what God did for me that was so great was like making me intelligent. Yes, because with that, you're just going through school, because the thing wouldn't be to do with, okay, you're not doing well academically. Here you are, brilliant, and then all you need is support, financial support. And we didn't get that externally. So my mom is she's just a superwoman, I would say.
So your mom took care of all of you single-handedly?
And actually took care of some of my cousins and nephews and nieces.
What was she selling?
Fish. Like, she was just a petty trader, but God being so good, my dad had a house, so it's like we lived on rents, like rents from people. And even with that, sometimes the tenants are not even willing to pick because they know that when they get the money, they are going to cater for us, and because they there were kids in the house and you're always sort of ahead of them. So there's always that kind of jealousy, envy, and the dragging their food when they have to pay their rents and all that. But I mean, those are just things that toughen you up rather than discourage you. So yeah, so I think everything worked together. I come from a home where no one would motivate you because your situation is enough motivation to keep you going or to keep you on your toes. So you don't go to school and just live anyhow. You know where you're coming from, so that would actually help you focus. And for me, that's what I did through JHS, through SHS University, and even for my masters. I just kept my eye on the prize, if you ask me. And yes, God being so good, it happened. Everything came together. It wasn't rosy, like I was saying, because there are times that you're going back to school and there's no money at home, school fees, but God always came through for us. There was always yes. And my God actually gave my mom. Wisdom is wisdom, but when it's coming from God, then it's supernatural. Because then with this woman single-handedly taking care of 7 children, and they put all of us in school. We are all graduates. I'm talking to you now, and it's not even something that people with both parents around have gotten. So it's just grace.
I just want you to tell me your story. When did you actually? You did say that your dad was big on God, so that was the foundation. But when did you, Esenam, when did you meet Jesus?
Okay, because it was more like a formality because of the house you're coming from. I think one of the meeting points, very significant in my life, was in SHS. Because you love the Lord, you go to church and you serve and in the house of God and all that. But there was this one program that happened, and I think that was a turning point for me. If this was ever a thing, I rededicated my life, because I couldn't point to a specific date or day I did that. So in SHS, I actually gave my life to Christ, even though I've always been in church. But it was something I did expressly. I gave my life to Christ, and I think that was just it. I just kept serving, and one thing God has done for me is giving me a music ministry. So with that one, wherever you are, you get to be, you get to express yourself in singing. So that's one thing that has kept me in the house of the Lord. Because even if I can't serve in any other capacity, I'm able to sing. And every church has a department that sings, or a choir that sings. So yes, that's why I get to sing.
I love it. So let's talk about Ese Roberts.
Okay.
So Ese Roberts, what is your vision? What is your plan? And apart from these beautiful dresses that we see here.
Yeah, so Ese Roberts actually, so Ese is my name and Roberts is my dad. So honoring my dad, even though I didn't know him so well, but I believe his life has inspired me. So Ese Roberts is for everyone. Yes, it's more of affordable and premium. So contemporary, premium and affordable. I'm always saying that yes, I think my background is always a motivation for me, even in terms of price points, because I tend to do very quality stuff, but I'm actually I feel like fashion is for everyone. That's what I personally feel. I love the luxury brands out there, they're doing so well, but Ese Roberts is not an out and out luxury brand. I would say it's premium, so that everyone who loves fashion, who loves to look good and loves quality clothing can afford it. So it's not too high up there, but you get the quality as though you got it from a luxury shop.
I love it. So what do you see Ese Roberts 5 years from now?
5 years from now, we'll do what we're doing, but maybe on a bigger, but on a bigger scale. Yeah, so we start. So I think a bit about this. So when I started out with the fashion, I started out with a brand called Identity Plus. So that was like mass. That was like for every and everyone. That was like everyday prices. and I was doing it because Ese Roberts was like what I had in mind. I had envisioned. It's actually supposed to be a one-stop shop for beauty and clothing needs. Yes, so beauty and fashion. That's what Ese Roberts. So the original idea is to have a, hair line, have a makeup line.
Wow.
Yes, yes, and have accessories as well. So one stop. I actually was I did a bit of event management.
My goodness,
Yes.
this woman has like multiple talents.
So I think if I get to speak about that, it's a challenge having a lot of skill and trying to focus on the ones that you think are your primary. That's something that I'm still discovering because day in day out new things, new ideas are coming up, and I need to just focus. But God being so good, I am good at everything I do.
Yes.
So then that's a struggle for me.
Look at that.
Usually, when you are not good, you're like, oh,
Yes,
this is not for
exactly.
me. But you tried and you were good. Academics, you were there. Business, and you were there. Business is what I've struggled with a bit because naturally I'm not business savvy.
Okay.
Naturally, I'm stressing on naturally because I know I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. But naturally, I'm not an out and out business person. I'm not so good at doing sales. I'm very good at doing the strategic and the back end of things, but being out there is not a strength. I'm not learning to be out there because I'm very private. I just want to be in my corner and do things. Because if you're a fashion person, you're supposed to love show business, and I'm not a show business person. I'm not at all. Like when I even dress up and I'm going and people are giving compliments, the attention is overwhelming for me. But I'm learning because we are learning day in day out.
Yes.
So that's why Ese Roberts will be big, very very big. So we're starting from somewhere.
Give us an idea of the expanse of your market.
Yeah, so people in the middle class.
Okay.
Yes. Corporate.
And you do your advertisement mostly on social media.
Social
Your
media.
communications.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm also leaving the details of Ese Roberts
Yes.
down there. Please make sure you grab your beautiful dresses. People, I'm loving what you're wearing.
Thank you.
It's so nice.
Thank
And
you.
I'm getting myself one of these.
Thank you.
So, Esenam, I want you to speak to someone who is also coming from a difficult background or coming from a challenging, background. Who it could be someone with both parents.
Yeah.
Maybe both parents have lost their jobs, or both parents are not well. Someone without parents. Someone who, is just really starting over. Someone who maybe has lost everything. And is starting over.
So one thing that's kept me going is hope. Hope in the Lord. Bible says that hope maketh not ashamed. So even growing up, when I had to, mingle with people, coming up, I just had hope, and I knew that I would not remain there. Yes, I was little, but every time, so when I carry my stuff and I go and sell, and you have friends you're also selling with and all that. Just in there, I knew I wouldn't remain this way. And it's true. I didn't remain, carrying, even though I'm selling clothes, but so that's a hope. I just had hope. I had so much hope. And you are better when you have hope in God. Yes, when God is your hope, you know that things will turn out well. It can be a roller coaster. It can meander, and all the things can happen and get in your way. But once you have hope, and of course, you can't have hope without faith. It's actually the other way around, but they move hand in hand, because faith is because you know the things are happening and you are now grabbing them. Hope because you want to see it in the future. So hope is usually futuristic. Faith is in the past. You have faith in something that's already there. Yes, but hope is always this is going to happen. I just believe that it's going to happen. So yes, just have hope, just have faith, and things, and work hard. You can't, you know that what we are in now, the times are getting harder and tougher, and you know, you just have to work hard. When you know, my pastor once said this, and it has actually kept me going. You don't stop when you're tired, you stop when you have finished.
Oh my God, Father.
Yes.
Please help me.
Yes. So usually we rest when we are tired, but you are not done. So you don't have any business stopping. Yes. If you stop, then you will know that okay, you can't get the prize. But once the baton is handed over to you, you hold it, you don't drop it. That's something that has kept me going, because if ever I drop, for me the baton is the word of God to me. So once I drop the word of God, my life just ends. It doesn't matter how well I am doing. Once there's no word, because I am word made. So once, because you know the raw material matters. So if you're word made and now you don't have the word, what do you have? It's just a similitude, but it's not the actual thing. Yes. So that's it. I'm word made, so I have to hold on to the word. So hope, faith, and just work hard. Hard work.
But Esenam, I want you to tell me, because I mean, you've spoken about hope, but I want you to tell me the practical way that you are able to hold on to this word and for it to keep it, because I mean, I don't know whether you've been there, but I feel like you've been there.
I've been there. Maybe I'm even there.
We continue next time. Thank you so very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. God bless you.